Muslim rule, Shah-Miri dynasty. After the death of Queen Kota, Shah-Mir ascended the throne under the name of Sultan Shams-ud-Din. The Shah-Miri dynasty has given us only two rulers who are worthy of mention. One is Sultan Shihab-ud-Din and the second is the great Sultan Zain-ul-Abidin. The former ascended the throne in AD 1354 and continued to rule till AD 1373. He was full of energy and vigor and he was able to establish his sway over the neighboring countries. His army mainly consisted of Damras, Lavans and the hill tribes of Poonch, Rajouri and Kishtwar. His two important Hindu ministers were Kota Bhat and Udyashri. At the beginning of his reign, he led an army to Sindh and defeated its ruler. While returning, he defeated Afghans near Peshawar and then he conquered Kabul, Ghazni, Kandahar, Pakhali, Swat and Multan. He invaded Badakhshan and then marched towards Dardistan and Gilgit, which he easily conquered. Then he marched towards Balochistan and Ladakh. Shahuddin. The ruler of Kashgar, Central Asia came with a huge army and Shah-ud-Din, whose army was numerically inferior, inflicted a crushing defeat and the Kashgar army was almost wiped. This led to the annexation of Ladakh and Baltistan, which were claimed by the Kashgar ruler. It is also said that the ruler of Kashmir marched towards Delhi and on the way conquered Kangra and then the army of Firoz Shah Tughlaq opposed him on the banks of Satluj. Since the battle between the rulers of the Delhi and Kashmir was indecisive, peace was concluded and it was agreed that all the territory from Sirhind to Kashmir was to belong to the Kashmir ruler. Shah-ud-Din was not only a great conqueror but also an able administrator and he governed his kingdom with firmness and justice. The king founded a new town, which he called Shihabuddin Pura, known as Shadipur. He is also said to have erected many mosques and monasteries. Shihabuddin can rightly be called the Lalit Aditya of medieval Kashmir. Qutbuddin. The next ruler was Sultan Qutb-ud-Din and in whose time the only important event worth mentioning is arrival of Sayyid Ali Hamdani, who was the most remarkable personality of the then Muslim world. At the time of his third visit, he got 700 Sayyids from Hamdan, who were being out to torture by Timur, ruler of Persia. These Sayyids established their centers of missionary activities in different parts of the valley. In 1389, Qutb-ud-Din died and he was succeeded by his eldest son Sultan Sikandar. It was in the time of this Sultan that the political atmosphere of the state was vitiated. Zainulabidin. Shahi Khan or Sultan Zain-ul-Abidin ascended the throne in AD 1420 and ruled up to AD 1470, nearly for half a century. His accession to the throne proved to be the return of a bright and warm day after a cold and a chilly. Zain-ul-Abidin organized a huge army and with its help he reconquered the Punjab, Western Tibet, Ladakh and Balti region, Kulu and Hind, Hazara. The Sultan also maintained cordial and friendly relations with the rulers of other countries. The Sheriff of Makkah and the kings of Jilin and Egypt sent him presents. The Maharaja of Gwalior, hearing that the Sultan was interested in music, sent his valuable works on Indian music. There was also an exchange of embassies and gifts between the great Sultan and the rulers of Sindh, Bengal, Tibet, Gujarat, Malwa and Delhi. The Sultan improved the tone of administration, which had rudely been shaken. He appointed talented persons in high administrative posts irrespective of caste or creed. Social works of Sultan Zain-ul-Abidin. The Sultan had a high sense of justice and no one who committed a crime was spared, however close he was to throne. Many grandees, who were favorites of the king, were severely punished when found guilty. The king took keen interest in agriculture and like Lalitaditya and Avantivaman, many canals were dug out in all parts of the kingdom. Jaunraj and Shriva have given details of these canals in their valuable books. Owing to these irrigation works, the draining of marshes and reclamation of large areas for cultivation, Kashmir became self-sufficient in food and rice was cheap. One of the most outstanding features of his administration was the just and liberal treatment for the Hindus, who were not only allowed complete freedom of worship but the Sultan recalled all those who had fled to India in the time of his father. He allowed those Hindus who had forcibly been converted to return to their former religion. The Sultan banned cow slaughter and permitted the repair and rebuilding of the temples at government expenses. He granted lands to learned Brahmins, endowed temples and for Hindu pilgrims visiting holy places in the valley, he opened a royal kitchen at Renwari known even now as Jogi Lanka. Jizya was almost abolished and the Sultan participated in Hindu festivals and entertained Brahmins and sadhus on auspicious days. Some of his important Hindu ministers were the famous physician, Visri Bhat, Tilakacharya, Sinha Bhat, Rupa Bhat, Karupar Bhat and Shrivara. At the same time, Sultan was a great patron of men of letters, such as Sayyid Muhammad Rumi, Sayyid Ahmad Rumi, Qazi Sayyid Ali Shirazi, Qazi Jamal and Maulana Kabir, to mention only a few. The Sultan had also established a translation department, where important works were translated from Sanskrit into Persian and Arabic. The Sultan opened schools and hostels for the students. The Sultan was a great builder. He founded the new city called Naushehra, a part of the city now. Besides Naushehra, the Sultan founded the town of Zanapur, Zanakut and Zanagir. Similarly, he built the first wooden bridge at Srinagar, known even now as Zanakadal. In AD 1470, the Sultan died, and for a long time his death was mourned by the people. Sultan Zain ul Abidin's death sounded the death knell of Shah Miri dynasty.